Hello and welcome to the BP Wealth digital page. My name is Yuvraj Thakker, and we're going to cover the budget, the union budget that was presented on the 5th of July. The budget presented a 10-year vision of the government. It gave a lot of clarity on what kind of activities it wants to pursue, what kind of industries and segments of Indian life it wants to, that the government finds important, and how they're going to promote it. The budget also was excellent for the startup ecosystem, for both the startup themselves and the investors in the startups. They are being given several tax benefits, and for the fintech startups, there is discussion of a sandbox where regulations will be slightly more relaxed, akin to the accelerator in Singapore. The budget of New India is a roadmap to transform the agricultural industry. The budget has also introduced a fully automated GST refund module. The multiple tax ledgers are going to be replaced by one, and there's going to be a central invoicing system, which will definitely go a long way in benefiting the business owners. Another big highlight is the second phase of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana has been announced, in which approximately 1.95 crore households will be benefited. And also another highlight of the budget to promote the cashless economy is that any transactions that businesses make that exceed rupees 1 crore in the entire year will be subject to TDS, which is tax deducted at source. This is going to be significant for those businesses that mainly transact in cash in the unorganized industry. And the last highlight, which I believe affects our market the most, is that there was a discussion for reducing promoter holding in companies from 75% to 65%. While this is a long-term good move in my opinion, I think in the short term this will cause an already liquid market to face more significant liquidity crunches. And while the move is right, in my opinion, in our opinion, the timing is wrong. These were the highlights. The budget in 2019 proposes to increase the interest deduction on home loans and first-time homeowners in affordable housing by 1.5 lakh rupees, which makes the total deductions up to 3.5 lakh per annum, which is very, very large for first-time homeowners, and this will definitely incentivize people to buy their first homes, especially within the affordable segment. The only condition to avail of this benefit is that the house should not be valued for more than 45 lakh, which puts it squarely into the affordable space, and the loan should be taken up to March 31st of 2020. The second impact for the common man in personal finances is that you no longer require a PAN card for filling out your IT returns. You can quote your Aadhaar number as well. This is basically to bring more transparency into the tax administration, and without the PAN, one can still file simple tax returns, allowing the revenue to cast a wider tax net. Especially for those people who don't owe any taxes but still want to register, and for the people who owe very, very small amounts in taxes, will definitely now be incentivized to regularly make their tax payments without having the excuse of of not having a PAN card. The next is the faceless income tax assessment. This is basically all of the digital filings can be scrutinized and closed and settled without any face-to-face interactions between the assessee and the assessor. The government has mainly done this to reduce the harassment that a taxpayer goes through if and when they get scrutinized. Another big feature of the budget was the tax benefit in buying electric vehicles. Our Honorable Finance Minister spoke about electric vehicles for the first 10 minutes of the budget, showing that the government is definitely very, very excited to implement EVs and push the Indian masses towards buying the electric vehicles and setting up the infrastructure to charge them and all of that fun stuff. This is definitely positive, given that we have such a large population and so many cars on the road. Going electric will definitely benefit a lot of our domestic companies that deal in EVs, and for infrastructure companies that will provide the fast charging points all over the country. So one of the features of the tax discount is as ₹1.5 lakh discount for the interest paid on loans taken to purchase these EVs, which again is another indirect benefit to owning the EV. Now, one of the negatives is that the surcharge rates of income tax, in which case the people who earn more than 5 crores of rupees every year will be earning more in their personal file, will be paying more tax in their personal files. Now, this is negative for the ultra rich, and in our opinion will have a negative impact on the economy as a whole, because it incentivizes people to pay less taxes and underdeclare their earnings. So the things that have gotten more expensive in this budget is imported books, gold, petrol and diesel, closed circuit TV cameras, though I don't know why, imported auto parts, synthetic and PVC tiles, and plastic materials. Things that have gotten cheaper are mobile phones, electric vehicles, leather items, defense equipments, and purchasing homes up to 45 lakhs of rupees. From the perspective of the markets, the budget seems to lack the firepower that is required. As we know, the country is currently very, very languid in terms of the kind of numbers that we're putting out with the economy in struggling right now, with unemployment at an all-time high, production at an all-time low. We believe that the budget could have done more for the economy as a whole, but it seems that to do that, the benefits would have to be given to the businesses and the promoters of these businesses, which is definitely not in priority for our leaders, because our leading party has made it clear that they're working for the 95%, not the 5%. We saw a 70,000 crore recapitalization of the banks by the RBI, and while the Bank Nifty reacted positively to this, it ended up surrendering all of its gains by the end of the day. In fact, during the budget presentation, Nifty 50, which is the frontline 50 stocks in the country, lost about 144 points, or 1.2% of its entire value. What this means is that the economy as a whole was expecting a slightly more proactive budget and a slightly more corporate focused budget, which it did not receive. Another interesting point is, as we mentioned before, promoter shareholding is being discussed to be reduced from 75% to 65%. This extra 10% that the companies will have to, of equity that the companies will have to sell in the open market, will definitely increase the supply of shares in a time where demand is low, which will force prices even lower and suck up more liquidity, which we think is a negative for the market. In our opinion, it looks unlikely. We need 8% growth year on year for the economy to reach $5 trillion in 5 years, which we are not clocking right now, unfortunately. The commercial activities of the Indian Space Research Organization, or the ISRO, will get a boost by setting up the new Space India Limited, the company that will spearhead the commercialization of various space products, including the production of launch vehicles, transfer of technology, and the market of space products. The reason we find that interesting is a lot of our economy is dependent on agriculture, and a lot of very, very smart engineers are doing a lot of work with machine learning in terms of the rains and the agricultural output, giving them access to assets in space will definitely enhance our understanding of our own country, our understanding of the weather, our understanding of the geography, and all sorts of other interesting and exciting applications. So that is something that we're interested about. Thank you guys. These are our views on the budget. Tell us what you think in the comments below. If you're watching on Instagram, please subscribe to our page. If you're watching on YouTube, also subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, like. You know the drill. So please follow us. Tell us how we can improve. Tell us what you want to know. And of course, use the comment sections to let us know what your views on the budget are. Thank you very much.